This is my 25 address to Minister Felix Ellis. Now, you used to be a local plumber around here, Felix. And what's a plumber really great at? Probably one of the best things that a plumber ever did. They learned how to make shit run uphill. Now, it's a pretty damn good service to the community. It stops infection and disease. It enables us to live a good, clean life in our health. It keeps the community from stinking like it's rotten. But as a minister, you have nothing but shit running downhill and landing all over the people. Why is that? Well, you see, you don't have integrity at all. This is what happens when you make a promissory affirmation to the state, which is swearing allegiance to the government, who has capitulated and sworn allegiance to the United Nations and UNIDROIT and the Club of Rome. The Club of Rome and UNIDROIT was ran out of Rome, Italy. I think you know who I'm talking about. Now, because you were sworn a promissory affirmation to the state, you are not upholding or doing the will of the people, because you have refused to swear a lawful oath of office, an integral and lawful oath of office to serve the people. You say you serve the people. Oh, you're serving people, all right. Just the wrong people. It's obvious to all of us with eyes to see that you have allowed Donna Adams, Commissioner Donna Adams, to take your man card and put it in her purse. Take that however you like it. You've got kids running around with bump up on their chins and little girls running around that have still got baby chub in their cheeks, assuming authority that they don't have. Making brash statements like they have the authority to use whatever force they deem necessary to make people submit to physical tests. No, they don't. You see, because we have nothing but yes boys and yes girls who run off with their orders like little remote control dickheads, snotty-nosed little pricks, who refuse to even have any kind of open discourse with people old enough to be their fathers, who know better, people your generation, our generation, and older. They're just spoilt little pricks. I'm sorry if this offends anybody, but perhaps a little bit of offence needs to be taken to take shit serious. They are spoilt little pricks who throw tantrums when you question their jurisdiction. Now you've given them toys to play with. They're getting tasers next. They're bad enough with their pepper spray. They're bad enough when they execute someone in Launceston not long ago who's in shock. Clearly in shock. I've seen the video. They're also cowardice. They send a good man, Constable Smith, up to the door to get shot by a man with psychological issues. And by the way, the gun didn't shoot him. The man with psychological issues did. You have officers that know zero about firearm safety, about the Firearms Safety Act, about how to even transport a firearm lawfully, legally and safely. Kids who leave a rifle on their back seat with 500 rounds of ammunition, a bolt and the magazine all on the back seat of their car, and come back into the house leaving the car unlocked, and when you make them aware of it, oh, she'll be alright, that's alright. Ensure well. No, she won't be right. You have people my age, 52 in 3 days, who have been shooting since we were 9 years old and have never committed a firearms offence ever. Only a couple of arbitrary legislations that you tried to turn into crimes based on your little John Howard Firearms Safety Act, which was drawn up before anything ever happened in Port Arthur. Throwing people's firearms around in a shopping trolley at the Burnie station, damaging them, making them unsafe. You couldn't shoot the side of a barn with a banana at 2 foot. Making threats of violence because you won't acquiesce to a lie. Because us older people know better than to play fucking cops and robbers. Just because Simon says doesn't mean I want to play the game. Playing little tactics like we'll just hold back for a couple of blocks, and when we know they're close to their house, then we'll run up behind them and claim that they're trying to evade. Yeah, let's do that, shall we? Let's call following somebody home because of where their car was parked across the road from to their home, into their driveway, a random drug, alcohol and licence check, and then admitting that it wasn't random and thinking that I'm going to go along with it. Sorry, no. I'm choosing option B. My lawful right to refuse to submit. The problem was, as they said, that the problem is that I refused to submit. What? Are you not respecting my authority? From where do you think the authority derives? Do you not work for the people? Oh, that's right, you don't. Because you make a promissory affirmation to the state to lead a public service, a service that is paid for by the public, that is supposed to be serving the public in the best interest of the public, upholding the rule of law, not enforcing legislature. Now, as a plumber, I expect you're probably not all that bright. I know a lot of tradesmen. I had 3 trades myself. But I chose to not stop learning when I left school. Legislature and law aren't even in the same book. One's corporate, one is a promise. Law is based on Christian secular law of our Commonwealth. We are a Christian society. I don't care if you are not. Tough. Our law derives from Christian secular law. Do we have a Bill of Rights? Not per se. However, we do have Magna Carta. I learnt these things at school. Probably one of the last generation to go to a school that actually taught these things. Not in Burnie. Now, I'm not going to get all sovereign citizen on you, since a sovereign is a free man of God living on earth, abiding by God's laws. The law. And a citizen is a slave of Rome who has been given some freedoms but still has obligations. The obligations to pay tax, the obligation to vote, and the obligation to answer to military call when asked on. In other words, when we say go to murder someone, you go. Now, isn't that a bit of an oxymoron? Isn't that a bit of a contradiction and a hypocrite? You can't have any firearms, but when we send you to war to murder people who you've never met, who would probably help you in a bad situation in any other circumstance, doesn't that make you the murderer? Wouldn't you say that sending kids out with their pompous, spoilt attitude of not being able to handle the word no and thinking that they have powers to do whatever the hell they like, to trample on people's rights, God-given rights? Government does not grant and take privilege. God gives it unconditionally. Understand that. Now, you have made these kids falsely believe that they have dominion to make wild accusations and assume that everyone is guilty. How does everyone have the presumption of guilt until proven innocent? Excuse me, could you just step out with your legs slightly apart and your arms up so I can run my magic fairy wand over you? They're running around harassing everyone doing it like a little kid with a new fucking toy. Excuse my F-bombs. Yeah, I'm a Christian who swears. I don't go to church. I walk in Christ. And when I make a promise, I keep it. I'm a man of my word. Whether you believe in God or not, I've gave my word. I can't go back on it. Why? Because I'm a man of my word. How many Christians do you know, Mr. Ellis, that wear one of these around their neck and have no fucking idea what it is, why they wear it? That is a millstone. They are my crimes, my transgressions, my poor choices, and I wear that around my neck like a millstone to remind me. I don't need people to beat me over the head, and nor does anybody else, for things that they already feel guilty for, that have not hurt anybody else. Do you even encourage these kids to consider the discretionary privileges that we grant them, that we grant you, to weigh up harm versus good? Am I going to do a whole heap of harm here for no good, when maybe all that's needed is a conversation? instead of escalating the situation, trying to throw the book at people for what? To get a quota in the revolving door of revenue? Here's another thing that pisses me off, and people are starting to wake up to it. Why? Because I'm not afraid to tell them, and I have no shame. I'm unashamed. I admit to all of my transgressions and mistakes. I'll go back through my videos. There is nothing that I hide. I hide nothing because I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to hide because I've hidden nothing. I have no price. When you've got a prosecutor and a solicitor as a legal representative calling himself a lawyer, and we know they're not the same, you know they're not the same, well, you should. If you don't, go back to plumbing. Doing plea deals. How does the solicitor know that there's a plea deal on the table before the accused has even entered into a plea? Have people ever wondered that? Gee, I don't know. Perhaps it might be because they all drink at the same lodge. Admitted in a courtroom, David Rogers versus Sergeant Stephen Kesselis by Greg Richardson in Devonport Court. Who was found notwithstanding on his accusations of drink driving after admitting he thought I was somebody else, and that's why he did what he did. The sergeant that allegedly is to beat up on his wife. Oh yeah, allegedly. I don't want to get sued on this. Maybe he didn't. But that's the word. How is it justice in a court of law? How can justice be blind? How can justice even prevail? How can a magistrate be blamed when a prosecutor offers a plea deal through a solicitor in a private conference room offered on the table, where then the prosecutor, who is the plaintiff, offers a deal, it's agreed upon, so charges are dropped. All the magistrate can then do is try to come up with some kind of sentencing that fits the agreement. Not the crime, the agreement. You are robbing the courts and the authority of their jurisdiction. You are robbing the magistrates of their integrity. You are treating the courts as a mockery. It is a gross perversion of the course of justice and contempt of court. At what point does bureaucracy override law? Why are lawyers, let's not kid ourselves, solicitors and barristers, railroading people in courts? Why are they misrepresenting people? Why are they continuing to write letters and charge people for them financially after the problem is already resolved? In my case, $600 from Stephen G. Wright. Yes, I admit to my transgressions. I have nothing to hide. I am no saint. I'm a wretch. But I have no victims. Not really. Any victims I have had, I have made amends to the best of my ability. I have repented. Will I sin again? Probably. But at least I recognise it. I recognise the damages that I do. Not just to my mortal soul, but my immortal soul. What good does a plea deal do to the accused when we have a situation where the prosecutor gets a win on a plea deal, the solicitor gets a win because he got him off on a plea deal, and the accused has charges dropped, suspended sentence, some work orders, or $5, $10 a week to pay on his fines, never ever facing any consequences for his wrongdoings, the victims never getting restitution, never getting their stolen property back, police choosing whether they will or won't investigate something because I don't like this cunt, treating you like a goose, stereotyping people. Making wild assumptions, thinking it's a presumption. We have now a case of the accused, the alleged, going on and on and on to have a criminal record just grow and grow and grow, but never learn their lesson. Are you not doing that person a gross injustice and society? How do people who get 9 years in prison be released in 2 years, have spent a lifetime playing this bloody game and are still playing it because you have bureaucratic idiots, social workers, the blue-haired brigade, writing humanitarian legislature to override law? Call me what you like. Tell everyone I'm wrong, I don't care. But you know I'm right. You know. And you know that I know. Look at my record. I've been around, mate. I'm all for law. Even laws I've broken. We need law. But we seem to have a problem, don't we? You see, when you have a problem with someone old enough to be your father questioning your imaginary authority, then it is you that has the problem. And when you are not mature, respectful, nor disciplined enough to assume any authority at all. You are now a scourge and a burden to society, running around with a badge and a gun, robbing people of their possessions. I'm sorry, but impounding people's cars and taking their possessions is theft. Not yours to take. You're supposed to work for us, remember? You're a servant. You're supposed to serve us with honour. Not kick us in the teeth when we're down. They're not yours to take. When somebody old enough who's been around, who understands and comprehends the difference between the words understanding and comprehending and realisation, questions jurisdiction, and they chuck a kitty tantrum, they are not fit to do that job. When somebody that knows that there is such a thing as trespass law, and I question what gives you the right to trespass on my right to stand here and mind my own business without any reasonable grounds to suspect that I've committed a crime or I'm carrying anything of any of your fucking business, to wave a magic fairy wand over me and then all huddle round trying to stand over my autistic son, who shuts down in those situations, trying to make him empty his pockets because he's got a couple of Hot Wheels cars in his pocket. Who they know is autistic, they've seen him before, same cops. They've upset him before. They're bullies. They're arseholes and need to smack up the ear hole. They are not fit. They do not have the empathy, the maturity, the discipline, nor the common sense, nor the respect for their elders to be holding that job position. They are setting a bad influence. Yesterday, the whole street in Catley Street, Burnie, stopped and stared at them cops when I pointed out that they were nothing more than Stasi. They weren't looking at me. The people weren't looking at me. They were looking at the cops, astonished that this could be going on here in Tasmania, here in Australia. We're just about where Ukraine was in 2012, just before Putin decided he wanted Crimea back. This isn't about guns. This isn't about a single issue. This is about widespread toxicity in our communities under your watch. Under the ever so wise wisdom of a minister who couldn't administer shit uphill. I and many people want you to step down and we want someone with some integrity to do that job, someone who is going to serve the people in the people's best interests. We want governance of the people, by the people, for the people, in favour of the people, not like Roundup for weeds. You are costing people their jobs, their livelihoods, families to end up on a downward spiral. You are costing homes their fathers over nothing, but yet crackheads can just run around. You keep busting addicts, who are nothing more than a symptom of a sick and twisted society. You are busting low-hanging fruit over and over and over again, yet the supply still flows. Oh, $100,000 worth of ice is a piss in the ocean and you know it. You know there's a bloke in Westbury that would sell that by lunchtime and he don't get up till 10. It's only 2 coffees and 3 bongs. I think you know that I know what I'm talking about, don't you? I'm not trying to be a smart ass. This isn't me. I made a promise and I can't back down if I wanted to. I am not retreating with my tail between my legs. Do your worst. I have nothing that you can take. You've already got it. But you will never get my integrity. You will never get my faith. You will never get me. I'm not cuckoo. I'm not unhinged. I just mean what I fucking say. I call a spade, mate. As a plumber, you should know that a spade is not a round-mouthed shovel. Nor is it a swivelling spirit level that you can point in any direction you want and say that we're on the level. On that, I hope you have a great Christmas, and I hope you learn or relearn, because I heard that you used to be a decent bloke. I haven't met you, but I know a lot of plumbers. A lot of plumbers. I used to look after the company vehicles of the local plumbing company when I had a business. How about we have an actual man in your job that will keep his man card, that will actually keep the commissioner in line, or who's got what it takes to sack the commissioner and put someone in there who actually has some integrity to serve the people, not a promissory affirmation to the state. I dare somebody to swear a lawful oath of office on our lawful constitution with the King James Version Bible, like you're supposed to. Why? Because it's a promise to the people that we expect you to uphold with honour, not from a religious nut point of view. I don't do religious nuts. I don't do religion. I don't go to a building called a church because they're hypocrites. I'm just a man. But I know what a man is. God bless.